Hey, what is up guys, Master here, back to do another video, and we are back with another patch. You may have caught in my YouTube post section that I have posted an update on 1.02 plus R23. The latest version, we've skipped a few letters here. It's going to be called R23X. Why the X leaf? Well, because it sounds cool. And it's going to be the definitive edition of R23 before R24 in 2026. Anyways, what has been done in this patch version, I hear you ask? Well, the biggest change to note is T-59 shock troopers are a little bit slower now, with and without advanced articulators. I don't think it's particularly out of place because the synths as well suffer from this as T-59. A lot of players were complaining about shock troopers being very OP. I myself haven't had that experience playing with them and against them. I found other strategies of Trav to be more oppressive. And that is where nerf number 2 comes into play, and that is the temporal wormhole nerf. This is the first nerf that has ever taken place and has to do with temporal wormhole. This is going to reduce the temporal wormhole duration from 30 seconds to 25. So a small decrease in the duration, something like 15%. For context, it lasted 30 seconds, like I said. The stasis shield currently lasts 21 seconds. It's intriguing how it's a tier 3 support power, it costs less, and it lasts 50% longer. It's really bizarre. But so were quite a few things in this game. Like the shard launcher upgrade. Why was it a 500% increase in projectile count? The DPS was like 350-400% more with the upgrade. You simply just couldn't build aircraft against Scrin. Even with the nerf, aircraft is a huge risk against Scrin. You're gonna likely lose all your hammerheads if you're not looking for 1 second. That splash damage from the shards is still insane, but it's not as extreme as it once was, and that's the whole point of R23 and 1.02 plus, is to make the extremes less so. Yes, there will always be one or two things that are OP, but I think what is OP should change every now and then, otherwise the game just gets boring. We'll be playing as Steel Talons in this particular match, going for MRTs in the beginning of the game, which is a pretty effective opener. I'm doing this to take over his spikes. You may have seen that I've put 2 combat engineers in those MRTs. I'm going to take over his spikes, try and get a 4 spike economy. I see he's also got a harvester there, so these rocket MRTs are going to be able to intercept that. And this is just a beautiful start to this game. And this is the first, well, one of the first games that I played on R23X. There is a nerf to Mammoth tanks. Mammoth tanks now deal 300 damage to all targets, not just ground based but also aircraft. It's not a nerf from vanilla because they were previously buffed to 400 damage. Now it's 300 damage against everything as it was in 1.02. You know, the game unpatched vanilla, it's 300 damage in vanilla. So I just reverted it to that. Mammoth still superior to vanilla, however, because they have triple the turret rotation speed, and that really is all they needed in the end. So we're going to see how that goes in this game, because there are going to be Mammoth tanks. It's not really a spoiler if you're playing or seeing Steel Talons in action. There's going to be Mammoth tanks. This is all about Mammoth tank spam. Rarely do you see Titan spam, though that has been a thing since the geometry got changed to make it, you know, occupy less space. That's one of the issues that the Titan had. Another issue had to do with it ranking up super slowly and gifting a ton of XP, much like the Predator tank for the Zocon faction. We forced here to build a few Titans. This is not really to do much aside from stopping his Shardwalkers there. I can crush the Shardwalkers. That's one advantage of playing Steel Talons. You get a unit right out of the gate that can crush most things. He's got the attenuated force field upgrade. Reaper 17 against Steel Talons. Pretty interesting matchup. It's going to be Reaper tripods versus Mammoth tanks. For the longest time, Steel Talons have had an advantage in this matchup due to the EMP grenades and the overly buffed Mammoth tanks. Reaper, though, can pull out ahead with the Shock Troopers. If they mix in Shock Troopers with tripods, charge up their tripods, they can win that fight too. So it is balanced. And I've been allowed a lot of blue Tiberium. In fact, I've been given almost four full blue tip loads of Tiberium, which is insane. I think I've made a mistake here, however, because I'm going to be floating a lot of resources soon. I've just got the 2 war factories making Mammoth tanks currently, and that's not enough to not float a ton of resources here. What I should have done was put down a 3rd war factory or even a Reclamator hub to get a Marv out. A Marv would be excellent to bait the stasis shield, even though the Steel Talons Marv doesn't have the highest DPS of the Marvs, because you can only put a handful of infantry squads in there that aren't zone troopers. It's still going to bait the stasis shield, or it likely will. So I'm floating 9 grand here. A mistake. I could have had more Mammoths than I have currently. And it's nice that these harvesters going to the blue tip field maintain that blue smoke hue. I know that they're rallying back to that blue tip, so I was able to fix that before they lost too much mining time. I've got 6 Mammoth tanks here, which is an okay sum, I suppose. He's got as many tripods as I have Mammoth tanks, and that lead I had with the eco is slowly but surely disappearing. I'm leeching some green tip from the middle of this map, and it's amazing how the Reaper player has an equally sized army to me, despite not taking the blue Tiberium. It may not have been the advantage that I was looking for, because that was lost mining time. I sent 4 harvesters to the blue field, but that was time where I had no resources coming in taking green tip. It is going to prolong my green tip field, however, since I have been taking tip from other parts of the map. I'm trying to split my forces up so I don't get all the units caught in the stasis shield. Stasis not as effective against Steel Talons as it could be against GDI, for instance, because you can activate the adaptive armor to prevent those tripods from EMPing you when they close in. That's what usually happens. So yeah, amazing concave from Reaper 17. The tripods have more range, and you can see what that's doing here. I don't have any EMP on those tripods. He stasises my army, and that's it. The game looks to be over. I'm going to fire off a shockwave on these tripods. At most, I'm looking to ping the shields off to make these tripods a little easier to kill. And my only out here is EMP grenades, and I do have those as Steel Talons. I'm going to throw EMP on these tripods. 3 EMPs coming down, and I was able to lock down all but 2 of those tripods. But with just 4 Mammoth tanks left, is it going to be enough? I have to also deal with disintegrators, which are moving in. He's got tripods aiming down my Mammoths. I've enabled the adaptive armor to keep those units alive a little longer, and the grenades are coming in handy here against the descent squads. Not only EMPing the tripods, but I'm able to kill those descents. What I'm not able to kill, however, are those assimilators coming in, taking those tripod husks back, and I've just got 1 Mammoth tank. I have nothing left here. Oh, that 1 Mammoth tank did make it behind the war factory, but it still looks to be over for me because he's targeting down my Mammoths. It's just 2 really low health Mammoth tanks. I took 2 of his tripods over, but they don't spawn as shields with shields because I don't have the force field upgrade. You need to have the upgrade purchased to have it appear on your husks if you capture a unit with that upgrade. But yeah, pretty close fight this. But my units are so low on health, he's almost going to take out that Mammoth tank, and he takes it out there. I'm not sure about that phase, however. He could have taken out one more Mammoth before using the phase, but yeah, he's got 5 tripods. I only have 2 Mammoth tanks. He's also refining currently. There's another 2 back there with shields. He's crushing my units. And me here with 3 Mammoth tanks and no economy. It's looking dire. It is really looking dire. I'm desperately trying to build some engineers to maybe take over some of these husks. I was able to get one of the tripods, but that's not going to go anywhere. It will be taken out and destroyed immediately. And now Senna has 6 tripods, soon to be 6 tripods. Takes out my barracks, doesn't want to see any more of those grenadier squads. And I can only win by using EMP once more. He's engaging, taking out my Mammoths. I have less range than him, so those railguns are not returning fire. But his tripods are all bunched up there, so there is the chance of me doing something. If I can lock down an EMP these tripods all at once, then maybe there's a chance. I need to be sure to get those 2 Mammoth tanks in the really low health next to the war factory to receive some repairs. Grenades coming out, and I now use the railgun accelerator, which is going to double the rate of fire on the railguns. And this is close. This is down to the wire. 3 Mammoth tanks left, but one of them is going to go elite there, and that's going to be so hard to kill, especially with the adaptive armor on, providing an additional 60% additional armor. And through some sort of miracle, I was able to come through and win that game there on Highlands. I didn't believe it. This was after the Mammoth tank nerf, and I thought this game was an excellent depiction of why the Mammoths needed a rocket nerf. Because yes, Steel Talons, they have railgun accelerators, they have adaptive armor, they have EMP grenades. They've had that for quite like a long time at this point. I think a decade ago Steel Talons got EMP grenades, so that's nothing new. Anyways guys, hope you all enjoyed that epic fight there on Tournament Highlands. That could have gone either way easily. I was amazed at it. I simply was amazed at that game. So thank you very much for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button. I really appreciate that. But before I go, I'd like to thank my Patreon members for keeping my channel going, for supporting me and what I do, for supporting the patch development as well. That kept me motivated to continually maintain it and do what the community requests. I have to consider the feedback of not just advanced players, but players of all skill levels, and come to a decision on a lot of the changes. So this is going to be from me, Master Leaf. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace out.